Thank you all for joining us today and welcome. I'm Lynell Phillips, your president. Carolyn?
Silence your phones, please.
Silence your phones, please, at Carolyn Cunningham's request. I asked Kathy Kyle to let me introduce myself today so we didn't have to go through the whole mic switching routine. And for those of you who are here to see Cheryl Gleason, our original presenter, sorry to disappoint you. You're going to have to deal with me. Cheryl broke her leg and is waiting for surgery, so she's even having trouble walking right now. And we're hoping that we'll have her here in September, but stay tuned for that announcement. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If any of you have not signed the waiver release form for the senior center, you have to sign it one time, the first time you ever come here. Whether you're a visitor or a member, we'd like you to sign that release form. And if Deb Walker would raise her hand, you will see where she is. And she has the release forms available for you to sign off on. Also, she's our cookie and candy coordinator lady. She's our hospitality chair. And she informs me that we're covered on goodies for the rest of the year. So we're not going to be passing that sheet around today. What I'm going to be talking to you guys today about is the possibilities for building websites for your art. I started thinking about it this morning and started thinking about when was the first time that I ever built a website. And that would have been when I ran a limousine company in the Bay Area, and the internet was just developed by, I believe it was Al Gore, Packard Bell had just released PC computers that were under $1,000. So going back and looking at that time frame, Bill Robinson, I think that was probably mid-90s. And at the time, if you wanted to build a website, you had to find an internet service provider. I think at the time my go-to was GoDaddy, and they were one of the early to market providers for web hosting. And at the time, the only way you could build a website was to use HTML coding. So my website that I built was cards for each of our limousine drivers, because they all ran their own business in addition to working for us. And I put that out on the web, these little business cards for the limousine drivers. I don't know if anybody ever looked at it, but that was my first foray into it. So fast forward, and now we have lots of different options about how to go. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to pick your internet service provider. And there's a couple of them that a lot of people use. I used one that used to be called 1&1, and it's now called Ionos, I-O-N-O-S. There's also GoDaddy. I just did an email porting for somebody that GoDaddy said, well, you can't have your email anymore. And it took me to move his company over 3 weeks, downloading and uploading, because GoDaddy decided that they couldn't have their email the way they used to have it anymore. Then there's also the internet site that Placerville Arts Association uses. That's Wix.com. And this is what you see up on the screen. Wix.com has templates, but our webmaster, Vesla Hooper, likes to work with WordPress templates. And what you see here is a WordPress template that Vesla bought one time, and she continues to use that template over and over again for our website. Every year, Placerville Arts Association pays $160 to Wix to host this website for us. There's a lot of limitations with that $160 hosting. We're allowed to have 2 email addresses without paying extra for them. There's a limitation to the number of pages we can have on the site. And for me, one of the scariest things is that WordPress templates have been known to have viruses that can cost you your entire website. So this is why I don't choose to do it the way Vesla does. But Vesla's in charge of our website. I'm so happy she can do it any way she wants to do it. I'm going to show you the Ionos website. I have several websites up here on the browser. this is the one that I use through Ionis for my art barn. And if I go into the dashboard, I said the first thing you have to do is you have to pick your internet service provider. You really have to pick what you want your website to be named, but it's always good to make that pick by going through the internet service provider that you want to use to host your website, because if you don't, you're going to have an extra step of having to transfer that URL over to the people who are hosting your domain. So I've logged in here to my Ionis dashboard, and one of the things I can do from this dashboard is I can go and check out a new domain name if I want to try to find one. Hopefully I've signed in here at the Senior Center. Yes, I have. Okay. So we see a listing of the domains that I manage under my contract, which is artbarn.gallery, paa.gallery, paastudiotour.com, and phillipscomputerforensics.com. Somebody give me a name that you'd like to have for your website. No? Nobody?
Bandana Donna.
Bandana what?
Bandana Donna.
Second word?
Donna.
Donna. Bandana Donna. Okay, got it. So we're going to see if Bandana Donna is available. Don't you hate it when you're trying to do something and it won't load? See this right here where these little dots are going? That's the one I need to be into. Okay, giving it a minute.
Lynell, is there a cost to this?
Right now, no cost. We're just checking, right now, we're just checking to see if a domain name is available. So you're going to first pick an internet service provider like Wix or Ionis or GoDaddy, and then you're going to see if your name is available. Well, Bandana Donna, it is. And you can even get a .com on that if you want. A lot of times the .coms are available, are already taken up, and then you have to ask yourself if you're willing to take bandanadonna.info, or if you want to try to pick something else so you can get closer to a .com. So now to get to secure bandanadonna.com, you see that that would be $10 for the first year. They give you a great deal on the first year. And then $17 a year for additional years. If you want to get more than Bandana Donna and you want to get .info and .org as well, you can get a domain bundle, which they're really going to suck you into. Notice this, $8 for year one, and then only $62 for every year after that. So be careful when you sign up for these and pay attention to what you're agreeing to pay downstream, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to go in there and start developing bandanadonna.com and bandanadonna.info and bandanadonna.org and then have to abandon them because you don't want to pay the price for the renewal on the second or third year. Yes, Wendy?
Why would you want to have an info and a...
Because maybe you don't want somebody else to have bandanadonna.info.
Okay.
So you want to lock them out.
Okay.
And so that there's not somebody that can come in and pretend to be you when they're not.
Okay.
So I mentioned that Placerville Arts Association pays $160 a year for its web hosting services. Ionis, I pay more because I don't use a WordPress template. I rent software templates from my web host. So each of the websites that I manage in my website and stores, because I use the templates that are available from my website host costs me closer to $300 a year. So that's $300 for PAA.gallery, $300 for Placerville PAA Studio Tour, $300 for artbarn.gallery, and another $300 for Phillips Computer Forensics. So each of my domains, about $300 because I use the template. The way a template works is you use your dashboard and you, in this case, you click website and stores. And what will come up is all of the various websites that I'm managing. I also think it's interesting as we scroll through this to see where the hits have been just while we're here. PAA.gallery has the Motherlode show from last year up. And isn't it interesting that we had 157 visitors on that show in the last 30 days? And I think that's because we released our call to artists just recently, and people are going out there to see what they can see about us and see if they enter our show, what they're going to get, what they're going to be involved with. And so, totally interesting. We also have pretty good hits on PAA Studio Tour, 136. Once again, the tour is ramping up. Artists are going in and reviewing the stuff that they've submitted to make sure everything's accurate. And so we've gotten a lot of hits on that website in the last 30 days. And then scrolling on down, you can see that Lynell's Art Barn only got 32 visitors. And then my actual business that I do for my semi-retirement living only got 17 visitors, which I'm grateful for because I don't like a lot of work. I just like a little bit of work. So I'm going to take you into my templates for artbarn.gallery so we can see what that looks like when you're building your website. So you're going to go through getting your domain, you're going to get it registered. After you request it with your website host like Ionis, they'll tell you, well, that's not quite ready for you to work on. So give us a 24 hours or so. So don't think you're going to build your website the same day you need it. Allow a little time in advance. And once they tell you it's ready to go, you can begin to build your website. One of the things that's happened with me with Ionis, I've been running my computer forensics business on Ionis, which was 1-in-1 for about the last 20 years. I've been through 4 different versions of their template software. So you build your website on one template, you run it a few years, and then they say, oh, we're retiring that software. You'll need to port your website over to this new software. And funny, every single time it happens, the cost goes up. The new software gets more expensive to use, but I'm just sucked in because I don't want to have to move phillipscomputerforensics.com over to GoDaddy or Wix or somewhere else. I just want it to stay right where it is, so I go with it. So when you're building your website, you would select the software you're going to use, and then you would begin to build your website, which I'm going to go into by clicking this Edit Website button, and then we'll be in the back-end software. So when I built this site, I had to pick a template that I'm going to use for the site that might be something that is easy for me to alter. So if you're doing an art website and you want to start with something, weirdly you might find something like a pool service that's got some interesting graphics on it, and so you would begin to alter from one of their templates into something that you want to use for your business. When I built PAAgallery.com, I did build that off of a like a swimming pool template website, because the graphics were just good to start with, and then I've altered those some since, but they were good to start with. There should be a really fast internet connection at this location. This is a county building. It should be one of the fastest in the city.
It's Monday.
So we are going to be demoing around the bugs here, as they say. back in the old days, I had to demo software for limousine companies, and I knew where the bugs were, and so I would always avoid the bugs in my demo, although I knew that they were there. Okay, I think I'm going to have to hit the refresh button because we're not getting here.
Well, thank you for talking through those different hiccups, because that's what we experience when we're trying to build a website. And it's good to know that that's part of the process.
Right. It's like you are. I know most of you would be going, "Am I doing something wrong?"
Right.
And it's like, no, you're not. It's the internet. So I guess we could blame Al Gore for that. Is he still alive? He's probably more senior than most of us in this room at this point, right?
We like
Oh.
to think that.
Okay, I'm about ready to abandon this one and move to another one because I don't really care which one I work on. So let's go find a different one. Maybe we can get a different one to cooperate. I don't want to go into studio tour because Matt Harling manages that and he might slap my wrist for that. So let's go into PAA.gallery and see if we can get it to let us edit.
And just for the record, Al Gore is alive and he's 76 years old.
Oh my goodness, he's really still quite young, huh?
Yeah, born
Very
in
young.
48.
Yeah. Very young age.
I almost get excited just when it paints a banner. While we're waiting for this to paint, if it ever does, let me just say that the websites that I'm talking about do not include a shopping cart. So the prices that I discussed of $160 and $300 are not websites that would allow you to directly sell your product from those websites. That gets even more expensive. In addition to your $300 a year for your domain and your basic templates, you can probably add on $30 to $50 a month to try to run a shopping cart. So another $300 to $600 a year if you want to sell your art directly from a website such as the one I'm trying to show you. Since this is not loading and we may never be able to talk about templates today, I'm going to go back to the actual website itself and show you the result of what would happen if you were actually able to get into the templates. The first thing that will happen is we'll be able to build menus that you see on the left under this home button. You see I have created an abstract art page, a few different AI art pages, something about my photography, something about the collectibles that I sell in Art Barn, a little bit about us, and a contact us page. So you are able to go in and actually build these pages by adding text into the templates and creating additional pages so that you would be looking at art from this kind of a display. You can add text in underneath or on top of any of these boxes. For instance, if I go over to one of my AI pages, you'll see that on the pages, which of course you'll not be able to see that any of the images come up because of our slow connection today, but you'll see that I've been able to add text in like this wave series using AI via Midjourney. And there we go. It's actually now going to show us some of the images that are on the page. So you're able to add in text to provide more information about any of the images that you have added into your website. You could also put the prices if you want to sell these originals directly from your website. I mainly like to have a website where I can tell people you can go look at other bits of my art if you want to by going to these to this website. Are we happy? Should we give it 5 stars? I think not. Okay, So now we're actually in the building part of the software program here. And you can see that we have ways that we can preview the pages, republish the pages. And here is our menu for actually building our website. So if I click the Pages menu, I have jumped from Art Barn now over to the Motherlode Show, which is paa.gallery. And on this particular website, we have a home page, an all entries page, an awards page, a page about our show juror, William Ishmael, and a contact us page. And so if I want to edit the show juror William Ishmael page, I would go to the page for William. And what I did for this year's show, which was the 23 show, is I originally had a page for Barbara Burge, and I turned that into a William Ishmael page. And so every year I can go back and just build off of these pages. And of course it's really cooperating well and showing us nothing about any of this, but imagine if we had a page here. There we are. All right, so we have our juror William Ishmael on this page, and I was able to go in and change this from Judge Juror Barbara Burge to Judge Juror William Ishmael. And you might notice that this graphic that you see on the screen here could well have been from a pool company, right? You can kind of see that, the reflection of the swimming pool, and that's where that banner came from. But it works pretty well for art, and it worked pretty well with our color blue that we wanted to use. So you can go in and create text boxes, put in the content, you can add images. We've got an image of William down here at the bottom. There are headers and footers in these templates where you can build and add. And I know that at this point you're all going, F me, I'm not doing this, right? We're all about on board with that page right now, right? And you're like, $300, this is painful. I can't possibly do this. How am I ever going to make this work? Well, one of the reasons that I'm showing you this is because I have an easier solution for you that I'm about to introduce. So your eyes can roll back out of the back of your head, focus forward again, and we'll move over to another option that we have available. You guys have probably heard about some of the packages that are out there like Art Storefront. I know that I can hardly get away from it on Facebook, and they have all these really flashy videos that come up about artists that are so successful, and then they tell you that they have a $2,500 free value, free introductory package that they'll hook you up with. Call a representative. Well, I'm never calling a representative. That is not something I'm ever going to do, because I know they're going to try to talk me into a lot more than I can afford. So when I realized that Fab uses Art Storefront, I'm like, is there any other alternative to that that would be more affordable? And so when I did a web search on that, I found fineartamerica.com. And fineartamerica.com actually has a free website that you can register for and upload your images to. And this is what your storefront would look like if you were on Fine Art America with their free version of the program. So you go in there and you sign up, and they create a website for you, create a web page for you. And what's really cool about Fine Art America is you can list your original art for sale. And once you upload that image of your original art that's for sale, Fine Art America will take it and put it on any number of products. So for instance, if I have this is an original acrylic painting, and this original acrylic painting would be listed for $800. But if someone wanted to buy a canvas print of this original painting, they could click on the canvas print. They could decide what size they wanted to make their canvas print. Let's go for the largest possible one we can blow this thing up to. And that would be $231. Now that's probably my wholesale price, because they know that when I come in here and logged in, they don't put my markup on top of that. So when I add any image into this platform, I'm able to go into this and specify what amount of markup I want on each size of image. And I'll typically put on something like this, I'll put $5 on the smallest size, and I'll put $50 on the biggest size. You can do any markup you want, but that's what I would typically do. What you'll also see that Fine Art America allows you to do is have so many different kind of products that you can get a cup, you can get a beach towel, you can get a painting. For a free website, it offers a lot of options. Now, if you only want to sell original art, that's also possible here, but Fine Art America does not handle your original art transaction. What they do is they direct any interested buyer back to you to purchase the original art directly through you. Carolyn?
So you're saying that once they have your image, if somebody wants to buy prints on anything, coffee cups, pillows, whatever, you don't have to actually package this. They package it, they sell it, they package it, they ship it.
Yes.
Okay, so they're not shipping it to you, so you have to ship it.
Yes.
They insure it as well?
Yes. And that's free. Yes.
So are they taking a percentage of the sales then? How are they getting money?
I'm sorry, the question?
How are they making their money? Are they taking a percentage of the sale?
Okay, so the markup is what you would keep. This image right here, 231, probably would sell for more like $350 because of the markup that I put on it. And or maybe $300 because of the markup. That $231 is what Fine Art America would keep for themselves. And then your markup is what would come to you, that from the minute they make the sale, that would get deposited right into your bank account. So that's how they make their money. So they're not really into helping you so much with original art, although it's a place that people can go and see your original art, see what your price is for original art. But yeah, like you say, Carolyn, you can have mugs and all this other stuff, and you don't ever have to deal with it. Now, if you want coffee mugs to take with you for a pop-up, you can order them from Fine Art America, and they ship it to you without your markup. So they give you the discount on that up front. And in fact, the big metal print that I had in the last member show was ordered from Fine Art America, and I got that net of my markup. So someone else that went to Fine Art America would pay more than I would.
And you decide on the amount for the markup?
Yes. They have a suggested markup amount, but you decide on that. And it's really important to go in and see what is going to result from that, because I was trying to see what was happening with Art Storefront. And so I went in and ran some of Fab's things that she has on Art Storefront as if I were going to buy them. And she probably would be kind of stunned to see that a 20 by 30 metal print was going to be $1,500. So it's really important to know what you're presenting to the public with your pricing, because if you don't look at both sides of it, you would never know. Now, when I was getting ready for this presentation with you guys, I realized that there were a couple of limitations to what you can do with your free account with Fine Art America. You're limited to 25 images in your account. That's not very many, especially for an artist like Carolyn that's probably got hundreds of thousands of pieces of art.
Thousands, yeah.
And so there's always something that pushes you to the paid account. One of the things that I did in anticipation of this demo was I put this original piece of art up there, because I knew that some of you, that's where your interest would lie, not just in prints of your art. Now, most of my art right now, because I've been dealing with AI, is prints. And so an original is a print. Same thing with AI. But with your originals that are actual paintings, is there a limitation with Fine Art America? Well, I put this up, and then I got a link, grabbed this link, and took it over and posted it on Facebook, and I could not find anywhere that it referenced back to the original artwork pricing. And that was the whole point of putting an original piece of artwork here. So I then said to myself, well, there's some limitations on this free account. What is a paid account? What do I get with a paid account? And with a paid account, you get a couple of additional features. You get the ability to take a piece of HTML code that Fine Art America will give you, and if you have a website like my artbarn.gallery, you can embed that code as a widget into your original website, and it will direct you just like a shopping cart from my website over to Fine Art America if somebody wants to buy one of the pieces of art on my website. I haven't done that yet. You also get unlimited images uploaded into a paid account, and you get a little bit better face on your website, because keeping in mind that what we saw for the face of my website, don't you love it? Okay, that's funny. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have the face of my website that wasn't so great. You get a better face. Maybe we'll be able to see it here in a minute. And then one other feature that the paid account has is the ability to do email blasts. And those of you who have been dealing with the Gmail limitation of marketing through your Gmail account, you'll know that if they think you're spamming with your marketing, they'll cut you off. They'll threaten to cut off your Gmail account completely. So you need a mechanism to be able to market your art to your mailing list, and Fine Art America will do those blasts for you through the paid account. Now, I did load my paid account here a few minutes ago, and maybe that part of their website is currently working. But you can see that already this face for the paid account looks better than the free account. Like we've got a couch in there, we've got walls, we've got framed artwork showing, we've got the collections showing up underneath in a more cohesive and appealing manner. Any thoughts on what this costs? What if you want to go from the free version to the paid version? What do you think that's going to cost? Are we gasping? Are we checking our wallets to see if we have enough money?
A couple hundred a year?
Annually, what's the cost? Any guesses?
500.
Good guess, good guess.
300.
Good guess, good guess. You're both very cold.
$25.
$30 a year.
Oh,
$30 a year to get the paid version of this that gives you the features of unlimited image uploads, better face on your website, very easy to build, email blasts. I see you want to say something,
Well, I
Carol.
have some questions.
Sure.
Not that I remember questions.
Well, that's good because we need to fill some time.
Okay, so by the same token then, so maybe you answered this, is this for original art or both?
Both.
Okay, so if it's original art that you're putting on here, then somebody's interested, they have to contact you directly and you have to ship it to them.
Right.
Okay, I have two other questions.
Okay.
So how about as far as copyright, I mean, they've got your images, how do you keep them from disseminating those images to, how do you keep them from using them for themselves?
Well, I guarantee you they're going to sell them to an AI scrubber.
Okay.
Without a doubt. Any image you post on the internet is going to be sold to an AI scrubber for sure.
So
So, but other than that, they have something in your contract or whatever you fill out when you do this, that they're not going to take it and just put it on their own copy cups?
They also say that they will watermark anything that they're gonna use in promotions for you. I'm clicking trying to get to the original design here, and just like everything else, nothing's going fast or cooperating.
Okay, while you're clicking then, did we beat that one up? Did we answer that question?
They say they watermark, they say they protect, and I was hoping to get to one of the larger images to just check a download. I have a feeling when I download, if I wanted to save this image, that it would be much smaller than anything that would be printable. But let's just check that real quick.
Okay. So unless somebody's printing a postcard with a picture, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, okay, this is good. See this where it says 2020 Lynell Phillips right there?
Yeah.
That JPEG image is 14 kilobytes. That's tiny, tiny, tiny. So if somebody tries to download your stuff, they're not going to get that 25 megabyte image that you uploaded. There's a 25 megabyte limit to what you can upload here. So if it's bigger than 25, you need to reduce it. But you can see 14 kilobytes is nothing that would be printable or useful to anyone.
My next question, so you said on the free version, you had a 20 image limit, correct?
25.
25, okay, 25. But can you swap out your images as long as you always stay within those 25? Say, I don't want this one to be for sale anymore, I want to put these new images in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to know what are your results from this as far as sales, and where do they put this out there on the internet as far as searches and stuff go?
They're not marketing for you.
They are not marketing?
They're hosting for you.
Okay.
And if you want to market through them, you can pay to do that. That's extra, and I haven't done that. But if you have something like these sheep that are here, and so if I wanted to tag those into a place where they're putting up images of sheep, and somebody comes in to Fine Art America and just searches for sheep, if I want my images to fall on the first page of that search, they will take a payment and tell you that you will be in about the middle of the first page. They won't guarantee you top positioning on the first page. But that really is a really good question that you're asking, because if you build a website, if you use something like Fine Art America, you are still the marketing person that has to happen. So that's got to happen through your mailing list contacts. I know that Fab has a lot of people on her email list, and she markets to them continuously. So if she puts up a new collection, she will shoot out an email to all of her people that have ever bought from her before that she's got a new collection up of her photography. And so you've got to use direct email to people, you've got to use Facebook social media, you've got to use Instagram social media if you really want to sell your artwork. And so for me, it hasn't been where I've actually sold my artwork. It's been where I can show my artwork. It's been a place where I can direct people to look at other pieces of art that I have, but I have never had a sale through this. I was on a t-shirt site for a little while, and before they bounced me out for copyright issues. I'm not sure what those copyright issues were, and I didn't feel like fighting them on it, but I sold more t-shirts from the t-shirt site than I have art, but I did more direct marketing on those t-shirts through my Facebook page. And every time I would do direct marketing through my Facebook page, I would see people go and to the t-shirt page, and then I would get $3 for a t-shirt after that. I suspect the same would happen if I started marketing from Fine Art America, and I haven't actually done it. I've been on this platform a few months now, and I've been using it because I've been testing the quality of their prints to make sure it was something I want to release out into the wild and have customers actually go to. And so far it's been okay. There was one that came in that was not good and they replaced it for free. And then I've had one come in, a very large one, that was absolutely perfect. But then, of course, I ruined it taking it out of the last art show by hitting it up against something. So it had a fatal accident. But it's no matter what site you use, you've got to mark it on your own, because nothing is going to sell your art for you except you. And that's really what it comes down to. Sylvia had a
Well, I was
question.
just gonna suggest if you click on one of those pictures and make it kind of full,
You mean the one where it says it?
when it enlarges it on the screen, that if you save it then, it'll probably have more memory.
It probably will, and if we weren't undergoing maintenance, we could test that.
Yeah.
I tried, and now we're undergoing
They can make
maintenance.
that so you can't copy and save if they wanted to.
It's possible, but I bet you it's going to come out much smaller than what I uploaded, because the one that I clicked on when I uploaded that was probably 20 megs when I uploaded it, and when I come down for a download, I doubt it. I doubt if it would be that big. It'll probably be in the kilobyte range, but definitely something worth testing if you could actually get the website to load.
So I want to, are you familiar with dailypaintworks.com?
Which one?
Dailypaintworks.com?
No.
So that's a place where you can sell originals. They don't do this type of thing.
Uh-huh.
And they charge like, I want to say like $12 a month. But you can scroll through and see what's selling. And there are some pretty prolific artists on there that are doing that. So I was thinking, what would your thoughts be of, like, let's say you upload the image to like Fine Art America to sell for different products, but then you have the original on Daily Paintworks.
Okay, and I'm going to have you spell that for me. Let's take a look at that website.
Daily.
Daily, D-A-I-L-Y, paintworks.com. It's run by Carol Marine. She created that. She's a pretty well-known artist. But I've researched that a bit, but that's strictly just for original stuff, not for,
And how much a month was it again?
I think it's like $12.
$144 a year. That's a better price than anything else we've talked about, with the exception of Fine Art America, who makes their money by selling prints of your things. Okay, so one of my problems is, somebody asked me if I was going to talk about Etsy, and I said no, because I've never been able to do an effective search with Etsy to get me to someone's store. And you can search for floral wreaths, but can you search by the artist's name for the floral wreaths? I've never gotten that to work. Tell me an artist that you think would be up here.
Carol Marine.
Murray?
M-A-R-I-N-E.
M-A-R-I-N-E. She's right here. Okay, and oh, look, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 18 artists on this site?
No, there's
No?
a lot of artists on it.
That's interesting. Oh, I see what it's doing. It's showing me all the carols, right? Because I typed in her first name. Okay, all right, let's look at her. Okay, she has 3,000 works of art up here. Yeah.
And it shows you what's sold, and because you can sort by different things, like what's been selling, like if it's landscapes or whatever, and it gives you a really good idea of what people are buying. This is a website that's known to people that are looking to purchase original art.
That's a very good tip, and I was hoping we were going to get some of those like this in this presentation. So that's for someone like Carolyn, who is looking for a place to sell her original art online. Dailypaintworks.com is a good place to do it. Let's see, here we go. There's that soul that you were telling us about, and this is by this particular artist, because we're in her search right here. So these are all the things that she sold from this site. 3,272 works of art sold. That's interesting.
Of hers alone?
It looks like.
Can you search a subject matter?
Let's go look. Let's go back to the home page. Search for art you love. What do you want to see? Sheep?
Sure. How about dogs?
Oh my God, there'll be too many dogs. We can't search for dogs. We'll just get too distracted if we search for dogs. Okay, so we've got 984 works of art that have a sheep tag on them of some sort. And now let's see how many sheep have sold. Let's see. Availability, sheep sold. 646 sold sheep.
Wow.
That's pretty good statistics on this website, I would say. Very good.
Now, so we've got these keywords that you're talking about. Is it, when you put your artwork up there, it's up to the artist to describe that piece of artwork in such a way that it will populate when people search? Is that how that goes?
Yeah, you would put in tags when you put the artwork up. The last time I posted on Fine Art America, AI put some tags for me. It looked at the artwork and then filled in some tags about what it was seeing in the artwork. And I thought that was interesting. I hadn't had that experience prior to just recently. And I'm not sure about this website, whether you'd have to put the tags in. But this is...
About that?
Yeah, you add the tags, and it shows you, what I think is really interesting is if you spend some time on this website, there's huge different price ranges in here. There's some professional, high-end artists that have been doing this for years, and then there's beginners, but people from all over the world too. So it's a really interesting site to play around with.
Oh.
I mean, I look at some of these works of art and I'm like, that's way too cheap, but for that artist, that's what they want, right?
Right.
So,
Do you happen to know if you can put in some sort of a button that leads them to your website from that?
I think you can. I mean, you create in there,
Because it's not really a website host, right? It's just
well,
a-
if you click under one of the artists, you can go to see what they are featuring, and yeah, there's links that you go.
Then there'd be a link to their, you could probably put in a link to your website from there.
There is a tag down here that says you can visit the artist's website right here.
Okay.
And let me click that because the ones I want to demo aren't working, but everyone else's are, so we might as well go with it. So that got us right back to her own website.
Okay.
And then here is, and on her website, she pushes you back to buy on the DPW site.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, totally. And then she's also got buy prints, so it's probably, she pushes you to a different site to buy her prints. Let's see where she's selling, let's see where this artist is selling her prints. Etsy. So you can see the way that artists have figured out to use this, and this, because it's unlikely that one platform is going to get you everything you want.
So can you explain to me the relationship of those three things that we saw? So we saw Etsy, we saw whatever that,
DPW.
right, and then the third one. So one of them is a website that people are going through because they know you can get original artwork. So
That's the DPW.
Then the other one, what was that? Other one was the other.
The other one was-
individual art.
That would be like
Gallery.
artbarn.gallery was
Okay.
for me, or PAA.gallery.
Right, so essentially, the second one, where we see all the cats, that's a gallery, kind of.
Right.
Not a selling space,
Mhm.
and that's where Etsy comes in.
Right.
And so the DPW, Daily Printworks, that's not a selling space.
It is. You can
Oh.
directly buy. Going back to this one, you see that you can purchase it right here. See this buy now button?
Uh-huh.
And it even tells you that the shipping is going to be $5 on this. It's little. It's 6 by 6.
Okay.
you gotta really watch the shipping, because you can lose money on that if you're not heads up, especially if you're doing something big. So you wanna make sure that you're doing enough shipping.
So the DPW, sorry to interrupt like that, but thank you for letting me. So then it would be the artist's responsibility to determine the handling and shipping costs, because at DPW, they will help you sell that, but then you're responsible, obviously, because you got the artwork in hand, you're the one that's got to package and get it there.
Right,
Got it, okay.
right, because they're gonna accept a payment for you, they're gonna put that money in your bank account, but you're gonna be the one going to the post office.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And what about, I mean, does anybody have much to say about packaging costs? I mean, is there something that we can learn from this group about that?
About what?
It,
Packaging?
Oh, my God.
it's expensive, and it's one of the things that the chair people of the Motherlode show are always really sensitive to, because our Motherlode show is a national show, and shipping has gotten so expensive that we get very, very few entries in. Even if you won best of show in the Motherlode show, and you had to ship an artwork that was 3x4 from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, back and forth, it's very likely that you're going to end up in the hole with your entry, and that's a sad state. Carolyn?
It's kind of interesting too, because I've entered a couple of colored pencil international things, and you have to prepay, you pay to send it, but you also pay for the return shipping at the same time. But it costs more one direction than it does the other direction. It's very strange. So it just depends on where it's going or then where it's coming back to. Yeah, I stopped entering some of those shows unless I have little stuff, because it doesn't pay.
Right.
Especially if you don't win anything.
It-
You're just shelling out money, entry fees, and then the special packaging, and then they have something called cartage fees, because there's a company that collects it and stores it and unwraps it and keeps like, it's crazy.
But, well, that's important, those are important things to know. I mean, I don't know if I like hearing it, but it's necessary to know.
Well, just sell little stuff.
Oh, and I recently shipped a 24x30 to Texas, and the shipping cost on that with FedEx Ground was only about $25.
Really?
Yeah, and so, but it was canvas, so it wasn't very heavy. And if you're trying to ship glass, it gets really heavy, and then the packing materials that you have to put in with it as well. So canvas not as expensive, but glass really, really expensive.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for adding the Daily Paintworks information. I think that really expanded the whole presentation and gave us one more thing to think about. So that was really great to add that in. And
Have you used it?
I'm a new artist, but I eventually want to sell my stuff, so I've been doing some research on that and found this, because I have books that I use by Carol Marie. She's a well-known acrylic artist. And she created this for artists to get the word out, and it's an established thing now. It's been around for, I'm gonna say around 15 years, something like that. It's been out there for a while, so it's a known source for original art.
I love that, and I'm going to go in and probably add my original artwork in here and not worry so much about it on Fine Art America, because I don't think Fine Art America really does a good job of presenting it, because their focus is on what they can sell.
Right.
So you're essentially, when you market for Fine Art America, you're essentially marketing their products and just taking your markup. And that's fine for photographers, people like me that do AI, but for those of you who do original art and that's your focus, it's probably not the best place for you to be unless you really want to push the mug aspect of it or the phone cover aspect of it.
Is there anybody in this group that's been successful at selling art online or is involved in doing it, and it at least has some transactions under your belt?
I have. They're very few, but my telephone number's in with my website. And it's a very old website.
And so people are calling you then?
People did call. I haven't had any calls in quite a while.
Right, right.
And I think Fab Dubkowski is probably the person in our group that does the most marketing back to her online websites. And she's at artstorefront.com, and then she has a couple art storefronts. I don't think does the printing, but they allow you to hook into your own chosen printers for things. And so she's integrated a couple of printers into that. But she's a photographer, and so her focus is on prints, because that's what photographers sell, is prints.
Right.
That's all you got. You don't have an original.
Yeah, see, and I think the idea of selecting a medium or whatever that, you know, what is the proper description, and sticking with one thing makes it easier, but that's not often how we live.
Yeah, I wish I could decide what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah, me too. Is time running out for us, Lynell?
I don't know. I don't know. It could be another 20 years. Who knows?
Are you gonna talk about FASO? FASO, Fine Art, FASO.com?
I can put it in right now, and we can look at it.
That's what a lot of people have, that's where my website is.
FASO.
FASO.com.
Okay, so intro $12 a month, silver $19 a month, gold $26 a month, platinum $40 a month. Which level do you?
I'm in gold,
You're gold.
yeah. I haven't activated the sales part of it. It's part of the package. I just have never done it. But they have all these templates for building your website, and it's lovely,
Very easy.
professional. Yeah,
Very easy
they're
to use.
beautiful, and they have marketing seminars and everything. I just haven't bothered with that part of it yet.
How long have you been at it?
About 7 years.
That's kind of like the rest of us with this
Yeah.
whole thing. It's like, oh, do we really need it? One thing that I see interesting here is their art prints on demand is still in beta.
That's new, yeah.
Yeah, but at least it's in beta at this point. So that's another interesting one to look at, especially if you haven't built any kind of a website yet. I'm going to make a picture of that one as well, even though I have the recording on this. Let's see. It looks like you're limited in the intro package and the silver package. It looks like you get unlimited image uploads when you go to the gold package, and the same with the platinum package. What is it that platinum gives us that gold doesn't give us?
It might be the volume of emails, I don't know.
No, I just.
Video, you get more video if you want that. You get more email possibilities. That's another good suggestion. Very good suggestion.
It's very, very user-friendly, easy to set
Is it?
up. And the print, for printing,
Uh-huh.
once you put up your image, you can go into the printing and set up how you want your prints, because they'll print on canvas, on, regular prints, or something else.
Do you play?
Or just prints on paper, and you can pick paper. So you can pick, so you can
Type of paper.
like 12 different styles of paper, and then you also input how much money you want to make off of that, so they incorporate all of that with, into what the price is going to be.
Nice.
And then they ship it all, except for the, of course, the originals are yours, so you have to do that, but very user-friendly. They also have a text, so from Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you can chat with a real person, and they'll help you through anything. They have a wonderful handbook. I mean, it is the best thing that I've found. And I looked around a lot before I got it.
And on the last two sites that we've looked at, is there any help with marketing
Yes.
on those sites? Do they actually market your work for you, or do you need to do that yourself?
I don't know I think they do some marketing for you. They have marketing webinars like almost every week. And, I think there are some products that they will push out. I haven't tried it.
Every time you put in a new painting or what, or new product, it will go on to their, they call it the daily.
It's very similar to the.
Daily Art Stream, isn't it called? It's
Daily-
Daily Art Stream?
Something like that,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it goes out to a ton of people. And then you can also pay money, $5, $10 to have it listed higher.
And
then
bigger
they-
image.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they have a lot of other things that I have not looked at yet.
But the
So-
downside is if you load more than one painting at a time, they just publish the last one each
Correct.
one a day.
You don't
or
want to
something.
do more than one a day.
Oh, that's a good
If
tip.
if I have them lined up, I'll only put in one, and then the next day I'll put in another. And
Yeah.
You're right, that's a good point.
Well, one of the things I had at the very top of my notes here is others ? Crowdsource. And so I think it's excellent that you all gave us some additional input on this and really made the presentation a lot more interesting and valid. Any other questions, quick, because it's time for our break, and I can tell Kathy Kyle's already getting nervous that I'm going over time here. Oh, there she is. She's all like, oh. Okay, we're going to take a 15-minute break?
15, yeah.
All right, 15-minute break, and then Kathy's going to be in charge when we come back.
Right? Yeah. Okay, what I'd like to do is introduce to you Eleanor Lidicott. Eleanor, am I pronouncing your last name correct?
Okay, it's like when you wear a jacket, a coat, coat.
Lidicott.
Yes.
Lidicott. Eleanor is the teacher of Otter Creek Elementary School. And she has a story to tell.
Oh, cool.
And she told me in secret, I'm giving away your secrets, Eleanor.
That's okay.
She is more comfortable talking to the little people than the big people.
Yes.
So be warm and welcoming, and let's hear Eleanor's story, because it is quite a story.
Welcome, Eleanor.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And you can just adjust it down if that's good.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
I could pretend I'm a rock star and just take it off there, and then I won't be, embarrassed. So thank you so much for having me. And when Kathy and I and Sylvia and I have been in touch with, different news articles they've put out. We've got a chance to get to know each other, and one of the things that I really appreciate is that both ladies have come all the way to Otter Creek, which it is kind of a trek if you're not used to living in the hills. For me it feels normal, but if you're up there, it's pretty far away. So I really appreciated getting to know them. Sylvia's come to Otter Creek several times over the last few years for our performing arts that we're kind of well known for, even though we're a little school. And so I guess I'll start with that, if that's okay. When I interviewed for the teaching position at Otter Creek School, it was over 10 years ago. I'm going into my 11th year there. And one of the things that they interviewed me and asked me about was if I was willing to carry on to the tradition of doing the performing arts. We have an outdoor stage. And I got intimidated right away because I didn't do enough of my homework. I didn't even know they had an outdoor stage when I interviewed for the job. And so I kind of rolled with it, how you do in an interview. And I said, well, I'd like to find out more about that. And it sounds great. Well, now, of course, it's one of my favorite things. And one of the things that have kept me at that school and the tradition is the community, how they look forward to that performance every year. And that does go along with the art program, and that you have been so generous to choose our school to give us that scholarship. So thank you so much for that. I didn't know if you wanted me to stop there for a minute, if there's any questions so far. And I can kind of lead in your direction if you want, or I can keep rambling.
What I like, Eleanor, is
Yes.
to tell the story, starting with the mosquito
Yeah.
fire.
So to link now the outdoor stage and our performing arts program, we're a school that's TK through 5th grade, and in the mosquito fire, and I'm gonna try to be really serious because I'm tender and I'm kind of a mush pot. So when I even say mosquito fire, it makes me tear up. But one of the things we lost in that fire was our stage, the entire thing.
Wow.
That had been built by parents of that school. Probably back in 1998 is when the stage was built. I lost 25 years of teaching material in our train container. We did not lose the school building, but it got real close. While the firefighters were on the school campus, hoses on the building, keeping the building from going down, the train container combusted. They told me later the real reason it did is because I had so much art supplies in it because of the paint. It's kind of ironic, but that's okay. That's what happens. Now I'm starting to kind of keep some of that inside and not so much outside. So it combusted right then and there. It was instant damage. It took the stage. It didn't take the playground, and this sounds really crazy, but I kind of wish it did because it's so outdated. I wanted a new playground. But anyway, so it took the stage, and so if you're kind of imagining, have you guys seen the pictures of the school by chance? It's about, oh, some of you have then. Yeah, we were on the news and everything. But if you could imagine a manufactured home that's a triple wide, that's about the size of my school. The one far side closest to the combusting train container of storage, that whole side got real close to burning the rest of the school. That entire side of the building had to be remodeled. We needed a new window, we needed a new door, a new shed, which they rebuilt beautifully and bigger. But basically, I truly do believe there were angels around that building, because if you saw the damage, you would have thought everything would go. So I feel really blessed that it didn't. The kids have been very resilient. Because it's TK through 5th grade, I get the same students back every year, and I get to know their families. I've been there a decade, so they're like family to me. And I've seen the strength in that community through that. Two of my students, they lost their homes. So Otter Creek is, anyways, even without that, is like a second home to them. A lot of these kids live off grid with, their parents are trying to build a home, and so they're in a situation where they're on in a camper, on property. So you would think that we're strong. They were the strongest, the kids. I really feel like I'm rambling. But that fire, we could all take it. My colleagues who have been so great through all of this and helping the district, helping replace things, people like your organizations that are so loving and generous. You have given us a scholarship. The Rotary clubs have just written us checks. And the list is at least 3 or 4 more. We could be, oh, woe is me, and oh, we were victims, but actually, I'm pretty sure this was a journey that school needed in a weird way, if that makes sense, because I feel like we just came back full strength, and it's only gotten better since then. The communication I have with the parents and the families, grandparents, community members has just gotten that much richer, and everyone just seemed to pull together for this small school that no one ever knew about before. So I just really appreciate that you have looked. I don't know how you found us. Was it through Sylvia?
Sylvia.
Yeah.
Sylvia.
So I appreciate that, and that you've always come to connect with us. And then now I'm standing here talking to you all because I'm kind of under a rock, you know, in the middle of the woods. And it was really cool to see how the entire, you know, I would say county, if not further, has come to support us and cheer us on to come back from that. So I think, yeah, it is awesome. And I feel just very blessed by I feel very blessed by that job in general. I've wanted to be a teacher since I was 7, and I love art. I am not that great at it, but I just love learning with them, and we try, and we use it in every area, science, math, every single subject you could throw out there that a teacher's supposed to teach 17 kids TK through 5th grade. I use art as much as possible, because even though I wouldn't consider myself an artist, I just think it's a beautiful way for kids to connect with their learning. I'm very into learning through art or singing or music. I am a musician, so I guess that is art. And I think it's really powerful for their brains and their development. My degree is in child development, not just teaching, and I have seen art be very healing for students. So you guys have been a big part of that, and I really appreciate it. And I feel like I could literally talk to you for hours because I've been there so long and I love it that much. But I'm going to open up to questions, if that's okay.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Will you remind us how many students you had this last year?
Okay, so there were 17 students this last year. I only go up to 5th grade. And so next year I'll have 13 to start with, but it does fluctuate. I've had as many as 24, and I was wearing roller skates that time, I'm not gonna lie. But I have roughly 2 to 3 or 4 kids in each grade level. I added TK. Actually, my stepdaughter's here with me today, Marissa. When her little brother started school, which now he's my stepson, I added TK, and the district said, yeah, why not? Let's do it. So that was probably about 8 years ago. So, and now of course the parents are like, do 6th grade too, so they don't have to go. But there's a lot of reasons why they should move on and, you know, start the process and leave the nest, so that they're not totally in culture shock for junior high. So it is kind, you know how that is. So it's good. So, any other questions?
Where are you located?
In Volcanoville, it's up country Georgetown, so we're about 12 miles past the main town, like the stop sign in Georgetown. Yeah,
That's all there.
yeah. It's beautiful. If you ever want to come, you don't have to tell me first. You can just pop in. Yes.
Well, just an observation, when Kathy and I were there was one student was absent that day. I guess she was like 16 students. And there, right on the other side of the playground and the fence is this burnt. All the trees are gone. And it burned down the stage, so it was burned right up to the building. And the kids are out there playing, and I was taking pictures, and I turned around and there was 4 of them that gathered together, and they were standing like this. Like, oh, you want me to take a picture? So I took a picture. But the kids were like brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You know, and they all get along, they were all happy, they were all you know, they were just, it's a wonderful atmosphere.
Mhm.
And I don't think she has the same kinds of problems that you have in some, you know, public schools where there's a lot of friction between different grades and different kids and everything. These kids love each other, you know, they just get along like family, and so it was such a wonderful experience. It was kind of a magical day, just to go and meet all these kids and see them out playing with each other, the sixth graders playing with the kindergartner, you know, and everybody was included and all that. And then we
Yeah.
took pictures, and it was interesting because Kathy, you don't know her silly side, but she's standing up there with the kids, and she said, "Let's be silly." Well, I'm a retired teacher, and when you tell kids to be silly, they're gonna look and say, "Well, what does that mean?" You know? And these kids instantly,
We're
some of them,
performing.
2 or 3
Yes.
kids are being silly all together. You
Yeah.
know, it's like instantly that they were just crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, they were just so delightful. But it was such a wonder, and it just felt good that these kids replenished their art supplies and their drama supplies and all that. So.
Mhm. Yeah. And we use it for, like, we do a craft week in December for the holidays. I'm kind of waiting to get my wrist slapped because I do a lot of holiday stuff. But I always ask my parents at the beginning of the year if that's okay with them, and that to always tell me. And there's been a couple times for religious reasons they can't, so I modify it, and it's okay. But all the parents so far, no one said, no, please don't do that. So we do a craft week, you know, any kind of like Mother's Day, Harvest Feast. I always incorporate art with that too. So for like decorations, our performing arts, they make their own backdrops, which includes a lot of painting. You know, we modify our costumes, which to me is art. So yeah, I think I would say we use it every day, but especially for those big events. So.
And I asked her, how would you like to have anybody that would be inclined, artists come up and give an art lesson or two to the kids? And so she said, okay. If anybody here would be so inclined, you know, you can let me know, or
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, we get very excited about guests when, you know, because we're far away. Some kids, you know, they don't see a city or a bigger town until I take them on a field trip. So it is a big deal if we have guests too. And you're always welcome. I mean, seriously, you probably don't want to ever go. That's what everyone says when they come up there. They're like, I kind of want to stay the rest of the day. I said, sure. So, yeah, anytime.
Thanks for what you do.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you, guys.
You're very, very welcome. I've been chair for the community outreach for quite a few years, and I'll tell you, this one really touched my heart. It was really quite something. Thank you. Okay, now we have got new members who brought some art, and I'd like to have, I know Rita is one, and there is another artist, a new member that brought a piece, I think.
Nancy.
Oh, okay, Nancy, okay. Nancy, do you want to come up and introduce yourself and bring your art piece up?
All right.
Does it, are we good? Did I put my foot in my mouth?
Probably.
And have her use the microphone, and then I need to see it in front of the
I need
camera.
to turn it,
Yeah.
okay.
Where would you
Okay.
like it?
We would like you to use the microphone, and when you show the art, in addition to the audience, if you'll show it to the camera,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
So if you want, I can hold this up.
Great.
Okay, so if you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Nancy Longhine. I moved here to Placerville about 3 years ago when my husband had had a stroke, and my daughter lives up here, and my son-in-law, and they encouraged us to come up and live with them for a while.
Nancy, can I be talking to the mic?
There you go. I'm so loud, I didn't know it necessary. Anyway, I haven't painted or done really anything artistic or even contributed to the Placerville Arts other than just being kind of a silent member for a few years. But I did join a couple of years ago, just kind of hanging on, enjoying all of your different speakers. This painting is a watercolor. It's on cold press, I would guess, because it's been a while since I've done it. I did it in Singapore. It's of a kampong, which is where a lot of the Malaysian natives lived. Boy, it's not like Singapore anymore, believe me. This was in the 70s. And, oh, I've got to talk into this, right. Anyway, it's just a kampong that was near our home, and it's kind of bring back memories for me, so I've kept it. It's never been for sale. The interesting thing about this painting for me is the instructor. When I moved to Singapore, I had never done batik, and I love the batik that's put out by the Singaporeans, and I wanted to learn, and I went down to the YMCA thinking I'd get a class. They'd offered a class in batik, but it was so beginnerish, and I'm an art major, that I lost interest in it right away. And I was downtown in Singapore shortly afterwards, and the instructor passed me on the street and asked why I'd left the class. And that kind of puts you in a strange position, you know. And I didn't want to say, well, you know, beginning class. And but he asked me if I would be interested in coming back. And I said, well, you know, I'd really like to learn batik from you, because obviously he really knew what he was doing. And so I said, would you teach me a one-on-one so that I could really get into the, you know, depths of batik? And he agreed to do that. And then a couple of my artist friends who also lived in Singapore found out that I had this wonderful artist teacher all to myself who was coming to my house. So they asked if they could come, and I said only if they kept their mouths shut. They had to be quiet. I wanted to learn. And so we worked for a couple of years like that. He taught us a great deal. But the thing about the man that I think you would find fascinating is he was a Indonesian Malay, and he decided as a young man to leave Indonesia, move into Malaysia. And while he was there, the Japanese came in, occupied, you know, Southeast Asia, and they captured him, and he was awaiting to be executed. But days went by while he sat and stood in this room drawing on his hands, because he was an artist and that's what he always did. And the Japanese, who have a keen appreciation for art, spotted him and decided that he was worth keeping.